Right, guys, here we are, hole 3. Now, I would imagine this is going to be a bear of a hole in pro. It's either giving us the wind. I'm not sure that that's still going to be enough. We'll have to just see. I'm going to bring my Cataclysm, and we're just going to try to do all we can to get to this to the green. You'll see that I'm also pulling out a Berserker Ball. Pretty worried about this not getting there. And what I can imagine is you'll have to play a very wind-specific shot. So you can see I have 7.5. It's a little bit larger wind. So I'm going to kind of maybe keep off the topspin. Let's say this was into the 6s or something. Maybe I'd go a little more topspin. But I just want to see what this looks like. Basically, all I'm trying to do is land on this other fairway and then hopefully skip the bunkers and also keep it short. It looks like I did. But I want to keep it short to make sure that I don't roll through into this longer rough. So I'm just trying to get that distance control down the best that I can. Then you can see I have a Cat 5. So I'm going to just try to, and you'll just have to play kind of perfect amount of power. And as I mentioned, let's say that just clips the fairway there on the second hop. That's one of the main reasons that I'm keeping the top spin down, because I want to make sure that it doesn't roll through, and it's going to be very prone to. And here again, you can see, opponent with a POC 4. I mentioned on hole 1 about the, neediness to, let's say your bankroll is just super tight. It's really the only way you'd want to kind of play pro with these clubs is because of the fact that you're not going to be able to progress that a POC. If you already have these clubs up at a 4, a 5, a 3, whatever, if you don't play expert, you're not going to be able to progress them in the tournament. So that's kind of one of the biggest downsides here. Now, what are we going to do here? I'm a little worried. It looks like that might come in a bit too hot. I'm thinking taking some of this off. That might even still be a little bit hot. We're going to do some sort of hook slice. I'm not overly excited about this shot. I don't think it's going to be that easy to pull off. Be just a touch more than that. First off, I'm going to play around here. I'm going to play about 5 rings for the wind. And then I'm thinking at least another target over here, somewhere along the lines of this. So you can see where I am up over into the rocks and what my bullseye looks like. You can kind of try to reference aim this a little bit. But that should be in the ballpark of where it needs to be. Not quite enough. So maybe just an extra 4 or 5 rings there. It's really hard, especially moving to higher grade. Technically it's not on higher ground, but the way that the ball's launching, it's kind of coming up from higher ground and then trying to land kind of on lower ground. But we should be able to get that to the hole that way. And you can see that I'm just trying to use the right amount of topspin to where if that lands on the fairway, kind of the left half of the fairway. And that's one of the main reasons that, I screwed that shot up, because I was trying to I wanted to make sure that it was on the left hand of the fairway. And then you could see it kind of overshot. It actually kind of landed longer. So that's where the fairway was kind of running out, is it landed kind of beyond the target. But what you should be able to do is get that hook shot. And the reason that we're doing hook shot is to make sure that the momentum, we land here, second hop is here, and we get over towards this hole. If we don't go hook slice, maybe we just kind of wind up kind of somewhere up in here to the right of the green, barely. So, I almost pulled it off. It really just going to take one revision. Just seeing the way that messed up, should be able to make the correction the next time. Just try to, essentially go, because the only reason that I really messed up is because it started to get too much into this bottleneck. If it would have landed way back here, which technically, I wouldn't have had the topspin to maybe do that. But if it didn't land so much up here, where it started to close off, I would have still hit the fairway. However, I can know for next time that if it's going to land here, I go 3 or 4 more rings on my adjustment instead of going kind of 2 full bullseyes on top. So you can see that I first went about 5 rings for the win there. Then on top, I just stacked 1 bullseye on top. If I go an extra 4 or 5 rings just to be on the safe side, it should hit the fairway each and every time because it's going to play very consistently. The biggest uncertainty and the hardest thing about that shot is your release point on the edge of the bullseye. So you'll want to make sure that when you're releasing on the target, that, off of the target onto the very left of the screen there, that you're consistently letting go at the same time. Because more people screw that shot up because of poor release points than you would expect. You could potentially be 3 or 4 rings off just on your release point if you're not careful. So keep that in mind for sure. Now, let's just talk about this bunker shot just in case, you do wind up here. I did size it up, but I kind of forgot where I was. So I'm thinking somewhere in the 5 or 6 per ring. 5 or 6 per ring. We're definitely going to try to land this on the green. How much uphill are we talking? So I'm going to go under adjustment, maybe even just more than 1 ring here. So right here. So this is just more than a ring. You can see what it looks like visually from that side aim. Really just going to come down to perfect ball. I wouldn't expect this to have much of a chance with the great ball, but it actually still did. So I was a little bit light. I should have just stuck to my adjustment, the 5 per. I kind of downgraded it to 7 because it seemed significantly uphill. So if I would have went a little bit closer to 1.5, it probably would have been pretty spot on, as opposed to kind of, you could see that I was like 1.1, 1.2. So keep all that in mind, but, hopefully you shouldn't wind up in the bunker anyway. Just one little minor correction there. You should be able to get that each and every time using that method. So good luck there, and I'll see you guys on the next one.